Yeah, the Afghanistani situation. What a way to start the year. Although, to be fair, this happened last year. Like, it was in the last days of December that the Afghanistani forces, for no reason. I mean, I'm pretty sure they do have a reason. Like, they do tell themselves why they did it. But from a geopolitical standpoint, it makes no freaking sense. It's like, why on earth would Afghanistan invade Pakistan? I'm not saying, again, like, I'm not saying they may not have a casus belli or some shit. But when you look at their military, when you look at, oh, actually, you know what? Hold on, let me check. Let me ask ChatGPT. How does the Pakistan military fare against the, so, how does Afghanistan military rank against the Pakistan? So ChatGPT is thinking now. It's charting the military strength. The Pakistani armed forces are huge, with a robust professional army backed by dedicated air force and naval branches. Its active duty personnel number in the hundreds of thousands. Meanwhile, well, they don't even have information on the current Afghanistani army. They say the previous Afghan National Army disintegrated when the Taliban took over. It's a patchwork of Taliban fighters plus some leftover and poorly maintained equipment. The concept of a unified, well-structured military is basically non-existent. Holy fucking shit. Equipment and technology. Pakistan has a relatively modern arsenal, including fighter jets, tanks, and a wide range of artillery systems. On top of that, Pakistani maintains active ballistic missile program and, of course, nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, the Afghanistan has captured U.S. equipment, some of it in very poor condition due to lack of maintenance or spare parts. They're unable to repair, refuel, or rearm the stuff they had. Like, what? Just so you can understand, like, once that, what do Americans use? The AR-15, right? Once the AR-15s go, click, 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 that's it. Like, that is it. There's nothing else after the click, 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 right? Like, that's... budget and foreign aid. Pakistan, consistent defense budget allocations, plus historically significant military aid from countries like the US and China. While Afghanistan, virtually non-existent. Training and professionalism. Pakistan, its armed forces have long-standing training programs, including those with the US and the Chinese military cooperation in the past. Pakistani officers often attend foreign military academies for advanced training. Meanwhile, the Afghanistan have Taliban fighters with insurgent backgrounds. They know some guerrilla warfare. But that's not a good thing when you want to attack a foreign nation. It's like, God. Global standing. Pakistan ranks as one of the top 15 countries in the world. While Afghanistan is not even ranked because it doesn't have a conventional military. And so, again, like, for no apparent reason, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to declare war. I'm pretty sure there were some Allahs over there, like some inshallah, you know, takbir, and whatever is appropriate to say in these particular situations. But they also declared war formally. Like, it wasn't even like like Hamas did to Israel, like a sneak attack on a civilian population. No, it's like, we're going to war. Rally the troops. Assemble the elector counts. Summon the imams. Yeah, I mean, usually, like, if this was a significant force, like if the Romanian military, let's put it like this, right? Like, by some reason, the Romanian military teleported in Afghanistan and decided to attack Pakistan, India would actually get involved, because it'd be like, oh shit, like that now, the moment is upon us. Like, they're distracted. But right now, I don't think India even considers this an event. Seriously, everyone that I speak with is absolutely baffled and bewildered by this. I don't fucking know what is going on. Like, they must have access to the internet. They must know. Again, Pakistan is a nuclear power. What? Even if you had an army that was capable enough to break through, like, what then? Whatever. I don't know. What a way to start the year. Holy shit. Afghan Taliban forces targeted several points. The statement from the defense ministry did not specify Pakistan, but the airstrikes were conducted beyond the hypothetical line, an expression used by the Afghan authorities to refer to the border that they have long disputed. Asked whether the statement referred to Pakistan, they said, we do not consider it to be the territory of Pakistan. Oh my fucking god. Jesus, they're like kids. They're like children. It's not really Pakistan. That's the hypothetical line. Okay. Afghanistan has for decades rejected the border known as the Durand Line drawn by the British colonial authorities. No details of casualties or specific area target were provided, and the Pakistani military public relations wing of Foreign Affairs did not immediately respond. I think they're still baffled. They don't know what the fuck is going on. What the fuck are they doing? Afghan authorities warned Wednesday that they would retaliate after the Pakistan bombardment, which they said had killed civilians. Islamabad said that it had targeted hideouts of Islamist militants along the border. The neighbors have strained the relationship with Pakistan, saying that several militant attacks to have occurred. I don't even know, like, what the fuck is Pakistan's win condition here? Like, do they push them back? If yes, how far? Do they want to govern? Do they want to conquer Afghanistan? Probably not. It's so fucking bizarre, man. It's just like, okay. These are people that are trying to kick off the events of the Book of Revelation. I never understand why, though. Like, what is the miracle thing with the rapture? Like, why do you want the world to end? Like, even if, like, you knew that, okay, we do this shit and we triggered the revelation. Why, though? Zlixia Doppelganger, thank you for the $5, the first super chat of the year. Being a nuclear power doesn't make you immune to attack unless you actually use those weapons and risk global nuclear war. I don't think anyone would risk global nuclear war over Afghanistan. The thing with the nuclear weapons is, like, of course you'd use it. And I think, like, all the leaders of the world would. Like, if you're being attacked, invaded, and you're losing the war, because, like, that's the thing. Like I have absolutely no doubts that China, the United States, Russia, all these nuclear countries, if it was a situation where the army is literally getting into your capital, like they're about to enter the capital, they're about to siege the seat of power, then the nukes would fly. Like, that would actually be the official statement. It's like, okay, well, at this point, if we don't let the nukes fly, you guys are going to kill us anyway, so we're going to take you with you. We're going to take you with us. And you got a choice. Either pull back your army, or we launch it. Like, that's even the purpose of mutually assured destruction. That's why nations even invest in nuclear warfare. Like the nukes themselves are very expensive. And maintaining them, right? So, that's pretty much how they would be used. But then, would you be nuked by everyone else? But, like, think about it this, Lixian, right? You're like, if you lose a war, if you have the enemy army get into your capital, like, what happens usually, historically speaking, is all of the people in charge, and that means the government, the officers, the generals, they get executed, right? They're trialed on a tribunal, and then they're executed, or they get life in prison or some shit. And so they literally have nothing to lose at that point, right? It's like, either you back off your military, or we launch the nukes, because, like, they're going to die anyway. And so it's going to be like, okay, well, mutually assured destruction it is then. And this is why, like you won't see an actual conflict. Like in my opinion, like, let's assume that NATO and Russia would fight. Like, the moment NATO starts getting close to Moscow and is encircling Moscow, they will be given an ultimatum: either pull back, or we let them fly. And so what they would probably have to do would be to create, like, an encirclement or something, you know. But like, they wouldn't be able to actually get into the capital. You wouldn't be able to have, like, the way that wars used to exist back in the day. It's not Civ rules. Yeah, no, it's real life. I hope that World War III doesn't start yet. Man, like, I'm looking at what's happening in Ukraine. I think, like, right now, the Ukrainians aren't doing very well. But modern warfare is absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. World War II was actually more fun. This one is like World War I. It's back to trench warfare, chat. Back to trench warfare. Trench warfare and fucking drones. Lots and lots of fucking drones. So you still have like artillery, you still have like the war in Ukraine right now is trenches, ditches, artillery strikes, and drones. And so apparently, well, you know, by fun I mean you don't just get to sit in a ditch all day waiting for something to happen. Like you're sitting in a trench in the cold, you're probably getting trench foot. You're shitting in a hole in the ground, then it rains, all the shit goes up, you're in the ditch. It's absolutely awful, right? And then you get artillery bombardment, like non-stop, probably like 2 or 3 shells every 10 seconds. Like, no, like World War II, as horrible as it was, at least you got to move around and you didn't get to stay in a trench all day. You know? Like, if I had to choose whether to be in World War I or World War II, I would probably choose the second. But regarding, like, this one, the modern conflict, seems to be back to trenches. The thing with the drones is that attack is very difficult because, like, the moment you try to attack, the drones see you from up high. And so attacking seems to be done in small squads, usually of 10 soldiers. And the whole drone thing, it's so fucking disgusting, man. It's like a fucking video game. Like, it's so dehumanizing. Like, you just have a guy at a computer flying a drone, and then they're just, like, taking someone's life. And I see how, like, on Twitter, there's usually videos, and for some fucking reason, I don't know what they're doing, but they're constantly, like, showing, like these are on the Ukrainian side, right? Like, did you guys see these Twitter posts? I'm starting to wonder if it's not black propaganda. Like, I refuse to believe that these are genuine people that are supporting Ukraine. Because, like, if you're doing that, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. They're showing war crimes. Like, usually a soldier surrendering or someone that's injured. And then you have, like, the drone operator that sadistically just keeps hovering around before dropping the grenade or something. And then everyone in the comment section laughs and cheers. And they go like, oh, the orcs. And if you're like, dude, like, that's a war crime. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why are you glorifying it? They're like, so you're on the side of the orcs. It's like, no, I guess, like, I just have human decency. I don't like seeing war. I mean, I want Ukraine to win, but, like, doesn't mean that I want to see war crimes on my computer. What the fuck is wrong with you? Jesus fucking Christ. It's not necessarily like morality. Like, here's the thing, right? Do you agree with the concept of war crimes or not? Because if you don't agree, then repeal the treaty and then reenact the war in Russia during World War II. Like, that there were no war crimes back then. Like, you had a sniper being caught, and the Russians would use attack in order to drive his rifle up his ass. Because there were no treaties signed. That, like, the concept of a war crime didn't even fucking exist. So, like, they went ham. Same with Vietnam. Same between the Japanese and the Chinese. You know, like, if you want that level of brutality, then sure, you know, I mean, it has happened in human history. And then countries got together and said, you know what, this is a little bit fucked up. Let's have a treaty, and regardless who's attacking and regardless who's defending, there are certain things we do not do. But, like, apparently people on Twitter are like, no, actually, if I go to combat, I want to experience that shit. Because here's the thing that I don't understand. This is not even about morality. This is not like, oh, we're better than them. No, it's pretty much like, we don't do this to you, so you don't do this to us. And so if you show these pictures, what do you think the enemy soldiers will do? No, seriously, like, what do you think would happen if one of these drone operators ever gets caught alive? The drone operator will be like, oh, okay, Mr. Morality. I'm actually curious what happens with drone operators. Like, I know in World War II, snipers would never wear the medals that they were awarded. And they would always carry an extra rifle so that in the case that they were getting captured, they would throw away their sniper rifle in order to pretend that they're a rifleman. Because if the enemy troop ever caught a sniper, oof. And so I think like drone operators, based on what I'm seeing, like based on some of the footage that's coming out, yeah, if they get captured, I big yikes. Big yikes. Both on the Russian and the Ukrainian side, by the way. There's like something that I think like it dehumanizes what war is when you're watching it through a computer screen. Zelixian Doppelganger, you ignored the ultimatum and let the populace know that if they allow the launch, they all die. No, Zelixian. Like, listen. The only way mutual assured destruction works is if both sides are willing to do it. Like, if you just have nukes and you're not willing to use them at any point for any reason, then just not have them. Gabriel Norta, thank you for the 25 Ron. Would you not launch the second that your missile silos would theoretically be under threat? If your capital is surrounded, you have lost already. Well, first of all, like, yeah, obviously, if they're trying to attack a military base that has silos, that could also potentially like trigger a launch. But usually the nukes, they also have like submarines that are undetected. Like Russia, for instance, has a lot of subs that no one knows where they are, but they're nuclear subs armed with warheads. SRC maker, drone trenches that North Korea Kim doesn't like at the front lines. Man, the thing with the North Koreans is so fucking weird. Like, some people say they are, other people say they don't exist. I've seen some video footage with a couple of them. I guess they may be there. It's difficult to say because of the fog of war, you know? Like, we already have the ghost of Kiev, the shark of Ukraine, right? So, most of the stuff that's coming from the front line, unless I see, like, actual footage, and even then, I have a question mark, I tend not to believe it because of the fog of war. Like, both sides are lying through their teeth. And this is normal in any military conflict. Because, like, both sides are trying to raise the morale of their troops, right? So, it's also part of warfare. The dashing rogue, it's not a war crime if it's a special military operation. Oh, I see. Gabriel Larta, please explain war crimes to Vlad the Impaler. He didn't sign any treaty. Didn't sign for any fucking treaty. This is why, like, when people say, oh, there were war crimes in medieval times. No, there weren't. By the way, one of the war crimes in World War I was using a shotgun. They called it a trench gun. And so the Germans were saying that it's a war crime. The Americans were saying that it wasn't. And then the Germans said, if we catch anyone even with shells in their pockets, we're going to execute them. And then the Americans said, if you do that, we're going to kill anyone with a flamethrower. So basically the idea is that throughout history, especially during actual wartime, especially during when society was shaped by war, soldiers realized that, yeah, like in war you have to kill your enemy, but there's a way to kill your enemy, and then there's a way to torture your enemy to death. And so the reason people said no more war crimes is because they didn't want the enemy to do it to them. So it's like, okay, well, if the enemy does this to us, like white phosphorus, that's a little bit fucked up. You know, it's a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit fucked up. How about we don't do it to you and you don't do it to us? Huh? Is that a deal? Is that okay? And so, like, if you sign the treaty and then the enemy does it, then you can just be like, okay, so you don't care. Then we're going to use white phosphorus as well. That's basically the reason why you have these treaties. And it doesn't matter who invades and who defends, right? It's just like, if we conduct military operation, we agree not to do this. If you got... Oh, a perfect example of this. Back in the day, this wasn't a treaty or anything, but it was common sense not to kill officers. I don't fucking know why. It was like a medieval thing. It's like, usually officers were members of the nobility, so you wouldn't kill them. You would want to apprehend them, like capture them, and then ransom them. But the fucking American revolutionaries, they started sniping at the British officers. And that pissed off the British so much that they started doing actual war crimes against the revolutionaries. But yeah, I mean, it's like when you piss off the enemy, you may not find out in the news what the consequences are, but most of the time the enemy has social media as well, and they get to see what you're doing. Which, again, baffles my brain why they are showing this on social media. Midwest Finest, how much of a cut Subscribe Star takes compared to YouTube? I don't fucking know. I generally don't. I think like YouTube takes 40%. I don't know how much Subscribe Star takes. The British people are hungering, begging, and pleading for censorship. They worship authoritarianism and cracking down on them. Well, we're going to talk about Elon Musk and the Brits in a bit. How humane do you think the Russians are to the captives? Very, very inhumane. But you know what? They don't post it on Twitter. Like that's my take. It's like, why would you post it on Twitter? It's like, yeah, no, like the Russian prisons are awful even in the best of times. Don't forget chemical warfare. You know what? Like, apparently chemical warfare is not really that effective. Because you can launch your chemical shit and then the wind blows the wrong way and it brings it back to your guys. So, we know North Koreans are fighting in Kursk because Russian soldiers put clips with them on Telegram for either front from the hospitals. Yeah, that's why I said I saw a couple. And apparently they have this language barrier which causes friendly fire. So, the actual war crimes preceded the targeting of officers. However, the British did respond by targeting continental officers, but this was less effective. Yeah. Anyway. I wish Musk would advocate the UK Boogaloo. Well, that's the thing. Like, he is actually talking a lot of shit, and it pisses off the British public. Here's the interesting part. When you look at the statistics, you notice something really bizarre. Britain is arresting more people for shit they post online than Russia. Like, can you wrap your brain around that? The West that champions freedom and liberty is arresting more people for shit they post online than the Russian Federation. And that's like statement number one. Statement number two. People within Russia have protested when the government arrested people for posts on social media. Now, the protests weren't effective. There was crackdown on them, but people did actually get out and protested. Meanwhile, I have yet to hear about a single case of British people going out and protest the fact that the government is cracking down on their ability to speak freely. This was before the war, Dark Winter. This was before the conflict in Ukraine. But I think like even after the conflict in Ukraine started, like there were a lot of protests as well, and people were protesting the fact that they can't have an anti-war sentiment online. And the police came in and they started arresting people and they mobilized some of them. Like they started mobilizing their leaders and sending them to battle. But again, the fact that people went out and protested against censorship in Russia, but they don't do that in Britain, is just mind-boggling. The chosen country is allowed to do war crimes because America grovels at their feet for some reason. War crimes only apply to the weak and losers. No, Raiding Terror, listen. I'm pretty sure the Russians do war crimes too. Like, I even managed to see a couple. But the difference is they don't brag about it. Like, they don't post it in public. That's the thing. The only people that posted war crimes in public, were, besides what I see on Twitter, is Hamas. Which, again, ended up with, like, massive public condemnation. I mean, it is what it is. I just want to point out, the war is going to end at some point. And people, like 50, 60 years from now will, unless you're from Ukraine, unless you're from the region, you're going to view it differently. And those war crime footage will remain. And, I mean, whatever. I'm glad I'm not a drone operator being caught by the enemy. That's all I'm saying. Old white guy for Pepsi. $7 Californian, and thank you for the super chat. SRC Baker, freedom of speech expression in the UK is a myth. They never had it. Even in the 1960s, they had to resort to pirate radio to listen to music, create their own artists. I don't really know the history of free speech in the UK, to be honest. But I don't think it was ever this bad. I don't think it was ever as bad as it is now. And so let's see what Elon Musk is saying, because he is pissing off the British public so fucking much. Well, not the public. Like, the public absolutely loves him. But he seems to be pissing off the establishment. Now, the situation in Britain is quite interesting. The conservatives, they... Oh my god, he's retweeting Carl? Okay. The conservatives in Britain didn't do what the electorate has wanted. Like, the electorate, since Brexit, has consistently voted for less immigration. Like, this seems to be like one of Britain's major focuses. It's like, okay, we want less immigration. And so, despite that, the Conservatives didn't deliver, and now they got punished, and people elected Labour, not because they like Labour, but it's like, okay, well, at least you're not going to gorge yourself on my taxpayer money for the next 4 years, Mr. Conservative. Right? Like, you gotta punish the person. Because, like, any politician, you know how much they like that seat. Like, that seat is so comfortable to set their plump ass on that seat. And then have access to your taxpayer money. So he can have food. So he can travel. So he can get benefits. So he can get prestige and reputation. And if you take that away from him, then what is he? What is he? Like, you have reduced them to a nobody. He used to be somebody, now he's a nobody. So, like, the British punish those politicians. It's like voting doesn't matter. It matters for the politician. He loses his money. You're defunding him. You're getting him to stay home and stay safe. They don't like that. And so that's what happened. And Labour came in, and they had certain policies that are very unpopular. And now they got trapped in a little bit of a scandal. And Elon Musk is making it worse for them by retweeting. And as you can see here, like 13 million views. Look at this. Elderly man arrested in Britain for causing anxiety with a social media post. This is insane. Thank God there is a constitutional right of freedom of speech in America. The scandal with the child molestation, the grooming gangs is coming back to haunt them. I don't know what happened now that triggered it, but apparently stuff that we were talking on YouTube since 2016, 2018 came back to light. I remember that I was telling Sargon, it's like, look, the whole thing was like, when the grooming gang scandal popped up, it was the police didn't do anything because they were afraid of being called racist. And I told Sargon, if you believe that, you're a fucking moron. There is no way that this is the excuse. The reason that they did it is because of corruption. Like some politician told them to stand down. There is no way that a human being would be like, oh yeah, I don't want to be called racist and I'm just going to allow this child to get abused on my watch. Like, no. The only thing that could happen is that someone with authority. Someone with authority would threaten them, and it would be like, look, these aren't your kids that are getting in trouble, but if you fuck with the system, I'm going to make sure that the system comes after your kids. And when you put the problem that way, you find out that there are very few heroes willing to step up to the plate. And there were a couple of whistleblowers, you know, there were some police officers that came out and they did talk during the years and they said, yeah, I mean, they said they will send the Child Protection Service and come after me and blah, 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 blah. And there were, like, consequences for them speaking out. But the idea that, oh, well, the police just doesn't want to be viewed as bull fucking shit. It's like, look, put yourself in the shoes of the police officer, right? And you're getting caught. Like, what are you going to say? Are you going to say, well, yeah, I mean, we were paid or we were, like this guy told us? No, like, you're going to say something that the public may just lap it up and leave you the fuck alone. And so, Starguy didn't believe me at times. It's like, no, you don't understand the British mindset, V. It's like, you don't get it. Like, British people, like, they're afraid of the word racist. It's like, sure. Turns out that if the rumors are true and what's coming out is true now, the authorities actually told the cops to stand down. And they said, like, what's happening with the girls is consensual, and you shouldn't intervene, and blah, 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 blah. And so, I was right, if that's the case. I was right. It's corruption. It's always corruption. You guys live in Eastern Europe, but you just don't fucking know it. V, you are right when you said Londonistan would be better standard of living if China actually ruled instead. No, seriously, like this really bothers me that I'm right. Like, I really hate the fact that I'm right. I mean, back in the day, we used to genuinely have freedom. And we would be happy about that, right? Like, that was a thing of pride. It's like, we have freedom. We actually have human rights here, and we get to express ourselves freely, and we get to hold our politicians accountable. And then you look at China, and it's like, oh, like in China, you get punished if you call Chairman Z Winnie the Pooh. I was like, what the fuck? Why would you get punished for that? That's so fucking ridiculous, right? Oh, you talk against Tiananmen Square, you get locked out. Oh, come on. But now, it seems that the focus in the West, in the free world, is to find out more ways of controlling people, is to find out more authoritarian ways, because it seems that our leaders are incredibly envious of China. Like, they're salivating. It's like, we don't like China, but like, we like what they're doing to their people. Can we not do the same here? And so, as things become more and more like China, where you have like people being arrested for causing a disturbance on Facebook or whatever the fuck, and you got CCTV on every single wall, and you have whistleblowers being arrested, you gotta wonder, it's like, okay, so if China was to conquer the UK, what would change? And it's like, more authoritarianism? Like, what, more than it already is now? Like, what exactly would they add? I mean, British citizens are already monitored on what they post on social media. You're already not allowed to post offensive stuff. There's already CCTV everywhere. They're already pushing for cashless transactions. So like, what exactly extra would they add on when it comes to authoritarianism? Like, they already have censorship. There's already things that you can't talk about. And so, like, again, if the CCP takes over, what liberties would they further crack down on? And the answer is, like, there may be a couple in 2025, but as the time moves forward and Britain becomes more authoritarian, by 2030, I don't think so. I think, like, it's going to become a place where if China takes over, you may ironically get even more freedom than the freedom you already have, if things keep going this way. I mean, they're even talking, what was it, Britain or Australia? I think, like, Australia already implemented, but Britain as well. Like, in order to protect the children, in order to log into a website that has pornography, you gotta show ID. So like, me, if I was a British citizen, an adult, I need to show ID to log on the internet? What the fuck is that? You know what has porn? Twitter has porn. So now I need to show ID to log on Twitter? Are you fucking insane? I'm not a child. Why do I have to do this? Oh, if you want to go to Google, right? Like the Google search engine, like that can lead to pornography, right? Do we put ID there? And by the way, like, I'm pretty sure the system, like, they're not retarded, right? Like, they will make it so that the system initially has a couple of websites and then it expands slowly. That's how I would do it. Like, if I set up to force people to show ID to log online, that's how I would do it. I would start by slowly implementing it. Like, I wouldn't put it day one, everywhere you go, you gotta put ID. No, you start with Pornhub. You leave it for 1 or 2 years, and then you add a couple more websites, then you add Twitter to it. And once you got to add Twitter, then you can add it on everything. Very concerning. Very concerning. And so, like, it's the same system in China. If you want to use the internet, you gotta show who you are. I think like either facial scanning or an ID. And I was thinking like, okay, so what would China do if they took over the UK? Well, they would probably crack down on any type of illegal immigration, like China actually does defend its borders. They would crack down heavily on crime. But other than that, I don't know what else. They would probably allow more environmentalism. Like they would even remove some of the bureaucracy surrounding the environmentalism. And so like British companies would be able to prosper again. I don't know the taxation, what it's like in China. It would be hilarious if a British person would have to pay less taxes. I know that the medical system is different in China, so you'd probably get less healthcare, but you'd also pay less. Like the NHS would probably go away. Yeah, all in all, I'm really disgusted by it. Like I like to pride myself being a free Westerner that life here is better than in authoritarian nations. And to be fair, in Romania it is. Like I can definitely say where I live, things are better. I'm happy that I live here and not in Britain. And this is another thing. Like when I was younger, I would have done anything to be able to move to Britain. It was like a dreamland. It's like, oh my god, like that's so cool, and their culture is nice, and you're on an island. You get to go to the beach whenever you want. It's close by. It's like no, now I'm super glad. I am super happy that I'm in Romania and not in Britain. But hopefully, you know, they will manage to get their shit together again. Requiring ID for websites, nothing new for me. Oh yeah, they had that in South Korea, didn't they? But how does the UK government benefit from allowing grooming gangs to exist and operate? Probably money. Everything comes down to money. They probably get a cut. I assume, like, I don't know other explanations, but this is the most logical one. Zlixia and Doppelganger, we unironically need free speech scare artists. Yeah, this is the thing, what Elon Musk is doing right now, and they're all freaking out because he's interfering in European elections. And so, what exactly did Elon Musk do to interfere with European elections? Well, apparently he said that he supports the AFD. Okay, so if you go on the internet now and you say, I like Frau Engels, is that what interfering with the election is? It's like, is our democracies so weak and pathetic now that all it takes to destabilize them is to go online and say, yeah, I like this candidate? Like if someone was to ask me, hey V, what do you think about the Switzerland election? No, what do you think about the Americans elections? And I say, yeah, I kind of like Kamala Harris. Is that interfering with the American elections? Is that like enough to destabilize the American elections? Is this how weak and pathetic our system has become, where a single man can give his own personal opinion? How is it different than if an actor would have said it, though? Oh, because he's popular, right? Okay, so if the Washington Post would endorse the AFD, would that be viewed as interfering in the elections? Because the Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos, right? So I guess if Elon Musk says it on Twitter, that's bad. But if Jeff Bezos posts it in his own newspaper, that's okay, right? Here's another question. What if Elon Musk would have said, I like Ursula von der Leyen. She's the best. Would that be viewed as interfering in the elections? Well, probably not, right? Because you can't vote for Ursula von der Leyen, so it doesn't really matter. Usually people like her get selected behind closed doors. What if Elon Musk said, I like Schultz? I think he's based. all of a sudden, I guarantee to you, it would be like, yes, it's not interfering in elections. It's Elon Musk decided to throw his support, stands for democracy, and is like a pillar of the democratic world, and blah blah blah. Yeah. Actually, V, hold on, let me see what's going on, because apparently my son is a little bit upset. I'm gonna see why he is agitated. All right, I found out he's getting a nappy change. It's fine. How free and fair are the Romanian presidential elections? Look. I have faith in the system. Rating terror, actually, V, is Australia worse than the UK because Australia has concentration camps that they built during COVID. I think Australia is far worse. I think Australia is actually one of the worst places in the free world. New Zealand as well. But I think like Australia is like the number one worst place when it comes to freedom. Though you may say like different reasons, right? Like, I think Australia has a little bit more free speech than UK. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, I think COVID was the great litmus test. Like, COVID actually showed us which country respects freedoms and which country doesn't. The thing with Romanian presidential elections is that a lot of people genuinely didn't care that much, because otherwise they would have been in the streets. Like when in Romania we had people genuinely upset, they would go out and protest. But the thing with this particular election is that the people that voted for the guy Călin Georgescu, they didn't vote for Călin Georgescu because they liked him. They vote for him because fuck the system. And so these people that are like fuck the system, they're not worried that the elections are canceled. In fact, they kind of like it because that's literally the thing. It's like create chaos and cause instability in order to have like legislation stability. Like, this is one thing that Eastern Europeans do, right? Like, we don't annul the votes. We don't, like just go there and put many stamps on the ballot in order to cancel it. What we do is we vote for the clown pill. And so the thing with Călin Georgescu is that if he doesn't run again, like, there will be another clown pill. And so the people aren't really upset. It's like, okay, so we're going to be like a little bit more with an unstable government. I mean, that's great, because when the government is unstable, you have legislation stability. They don't pass new taxes. They don't pass new bureaucracies. They don't try and limit more of your freedom. So, like, if the government is inefficient and they're arguing with each other, that's actually good for investors. That's actually good for the private sector. And so the thing that's happening now with Călin Georgescu, a lot of people notice that he's a grifter. And what do I mean by this? I mean, he is saying the things, but nobody believes him due to his past. Like, let me put it this way, right? If I was to start LARPing as a progressive, and I start talking about trans issues, and I start talking about how important pronouns are, and I do the whole AOC speech, and I'm running for president, and you guys know my past, you know who I am. How likely would you believe that I'm genuine? Like, how likely would you believe that I'm an honest person that unironically believes what I'm saying? Like, you know who I am. You know what I do, right? But all of a sudden, I have like these very progressive takes, and I go there. If it happens that the elections get canceled, and I almost won, like, a lot of people will be like, trollolo, and just keep going, right? And so, yeah, basically, this is why people didn't actually go outside, that they didn't protest. It's because, like, no one actually liked the guy, and they didn't like the opposition either. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I definitely think, like, some other clown pill is going to be voted in. And I don't think they can cancel the elections another time around. Just put my furry suit. I think you are being blackmailed. Well, the guy, just so you can understand, right? Like, the guy was a nationalist, but he used to work on ESG projects. Like he used to work on environmentalism projects. He used to work with progressives. Like it doesn't fucking make sense, you know? Like, you can't work with the globalists and be at the UN as a diplomat, and then all of a sudden you're like this nationalist guy that's a lot of... Come on. No. I would assume someone would point a gun at your head during that speech. Well, it depends. Like, if I want to grift, right? Like, if someone makes it worth my while, if someone pays me, sure, why not? Like, if I don't do it, someone else will. Like, if Vosh comes up to me, chat, at least I'm fucking honest, okay? I'm never going to lie to you, because you're my subscribers. If Vosh comes up to me and goes like, V, here's $100,000. I need you to start making left-leaning propaganda. I'll be like, sure, Vosh. What is the target audience? And what do you want to accomplish? Like, who is my target audience? Gamers. I want you to start promoting Sweet Baby Inc. I'll be like, Jesus, Vosh, that's a little bit difficult, but you know what? I think I can pull it off. Like, if you give me a lie to Sweet Baby Inc. and we can talk it over, I'll fucking do it. Yeah. No, like, listen. All they gotta do is they have to give up the aesthetic. Like I would talk with Sweet Baby Inc. and I would be like, all right, listen, you fucktards. What do you want to accomplish? Do you want to grift? Do you want to make money? Right? Or do you actually care about the ideology? You want to make money, right? Okay, well, here's the thing. Drop the aesthetics issue. Right? They just go out, make an apology, say that, you know, we were arrogant, we did bad things, blah, 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 blah. We're going to listen to gamers from now on. We're going to make a better job, blah, 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 blah. And then just drop the aesthetics thing, like show them like a woman with mid-fat tits, right? And then you keep on grifting, you keep making money, you keep working for these AAA companies, and you're not going to be viewed as the black sheep. Right? Like that's it. You get to stay rich. You get to keep making cash. And you can even push your ideology, you know, but do it more subtly. And then I would go on my channel and I would say, okay, well, it seems that there was a change of leadership at Sweet Baby. Oh, look at this. Oh, my goodness. Oh, but are they changing their ways? Let's see. Oh, look at this female character. Oh, she's an interesting design. Perhaps that they are interested in changing their ways. And that's how you fucking do it. And Vosh pays me, and I write down the script, and I would actually invest more time than 2 minutes, just me thinking it right now. And I guarantee to you, I can get Sweet Baby to be a respectable company again. Instead of body type A and B, just be like male or female. Let me think how I would do the body type A, body type B thing. I wouldn't use the word body type, I would use identity. Like, how do you identify as, man or woman? Like, that's how I would do it. And then you please the trans people, and you also please the actual gamers. Although it's kind of late now. It's kind of late. The backlash is happening. So it's kind of difficult to walk it back, because people would see it as grifting. But, no, I would probably ask them, look, for the next 4 or 5 titles, you just use bad and woman. And after the next 4 or 5 titles, you can dial it back a little bit, but don't use body type A, body type B. Just use how do you identify as, and just have like man, woman. And that's how I would do it. Yeah, I wouldn't do the are you a boy or a girl. I would play it a little bit more smart. I care more that the discount German is still at Cotrocen, even if he is currently illegitimate. I dislike both candidates from the second round. Yeah, this is what a lot of Romanians are experiencing, what Gabriel Nartea says, which is why like a lot of Americans, why a lot of Romanians aren't afraid of their democracy. The thing with Romania, and I will tell you why I genuinely think we have a democracy, is because the left was in power, I think, for like 12 years, right? Like we had 3 Iliescus. And when the right won, the left actually stepped down and allowed the right-wingers to be in power. And then after the right-wingers, we had left-winging people again. We had Băsescu. Like, we had very different administrations and principles and ways of thinking and a lot of things. And so I do think that democracy actually exists. The only thing that doesn't exist in Romania is foreign policy. I think that is actually set by the deep state. Like, I think the deep state generally says, all right, like this is what the foreign policy is. And in a way, it's good. Like, you can't really be in Eastern Europe without this mindset. But it's not very democratic. Then again, I'm looking at the Americans and I'm wondering, is it that different? Like in the United States, if you ask a random American citizen, can you tell me who your country is actually at war with right now? Do you think they know what to answer? Like one day you go to sleep, the next day you find out that you're at war with some nation that you can't even point on the map and you didn't vote on it. Right? I mean, if you ask random people from the United States, Elon Musk actually got into a trouble. Yeah, like Elon Musk at some point refused to give Starlink coverage over a part of Russia, and the Americans couldn't bomb some Russian ships in a harbor. And they were accusing Elon Musk of being a traitor, and Elon Musk actually pointed out, well, I don't know when Congress declared war on Russia. So how can I be a traitor? Like, the United States is not at war with Russia. Why would I be forced to offer my satellite footage for the Americans to bomb a country that we're not at war with? And it's like, okay, well, it's kind of the same here, right? Like, regardless who's in power, we don't get to set foreign policy as much. V, here's $2 to promote your game. Why, thank you, Rating Terror. I will need a lot more than that, but it's a good start. Elon Solon says Elon was better than Bread while he was taking money from Democrats for his eco-friendly solution bullshit. Then he separated from the herd and became evil. Well, right now, the way I would describe how the left is faring on Twitter is like your billionaire beat our billionaire, and that is very bad. Like, you're not supposed to use billionaires. We're the only ones allowed to use billionaires to win elections. And you find that immoral, so we're going to keep doing it. And if you try to get your billionaire to beat our billionaire, we're going to call you out for being hypocrites. What you need to do is not use billionaires and just allow us to constantly win elections, right? Because that's your principles. So just stop using billionaires. And apparently, yeah. Most places in Britain are still lovely and unspoiled. I don't know what it's like in Britain, but they're fucking with the farmers now, so I assume like the places you're talking about are going to witness some transformation. The thing though that I would say about Britain is that in the IT world, a lot of developers are saying that British coders are now very cheap. Like, if you want to hire an IT guy, if you want to hire a coder or a developer, you should get a British person because they're desperate. And British coders apparently have like 2 or 3 jobs just to make do. And to be honest, I really hate that this is the case. I believe it. It's very sad, and the reason that's happening is because they're getting taxed to high heaven. And so they gotta get like 2 or 3 jobs in order to make ends meet. And they're really good at it. Like, that's the sad thing. No, seriously, like, there's a lot of Eastern Europeans, like, from CD Projekt Red and shit, that they're hiring British people rather than Indians now. Because the price is similar, and the British people, they do a better job. if things go down, I wouldn't be surprised. Like seriously, if in 20 or 30 years from now, Eastern Europe becomes more wealthy than the UK, then the only people that the UK have to blame is their own politicians. Like, there should be no scenario. Not a single scenario, unless there's a war or a plague or some shit. But like, there should be no scenario in which a nation that is an island nation and has access to the ocean to be more poor than a landlocked nation that only has access to a sea. Like, that's no. Shouldn't happen. I left UK because the pay was shit. Going to Germany, my pay went up 3 times. This was in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, they're starting to charge taxes on cow farts. It's like, come on. Britain has this religion. They took the environmental religion seriously. Like, they generally worship environmentalism. And environmentalism, the modern one, the 2024 one, is to believe that carbon is a pollutant. And if you believe that carbon is a pollutant, then every single human activity produces carbon. Like flipping a light switch on and off. That produces carbon. And so, if the government has to crack down and regulate, then they just got mandate to regulate every single human activity. Everything. And everything can be taxed. And if they want to get like CBDC, so that every single transaction happens in the digital space, and you don't have cash anymore. And by the way, when I went to Britain, like, that actually fucking shocked me. But if you want to do everything online, then they can just tax everything you do. Yeah, no, seriously, like, I went to Britain, and if you go to anything in London that's operated by the government, so the London Zoo, I think like the London Dungeon as well, like the funds may actually go to London City, I'm not sure. But I do know that the London City and many other places, they're card only. Like, I had actual pounds, I had money. And I wanted to get rid of it, because like, when I went, usually when I go to another country, I always take currency from that nation before I go there. Because you never know what can happen, right? Like, maybe your card gets stolen. Maybe your card doesn't work with their ATMs. I don't fucking know. And so I always like to have like genuine cash, genuine paper, and I place it in different spots, you know, so that if something gets stolen, then I don't lose all my money. Right? And this is like good travel advice if you go in dangerous nations like Britain. You don't want to have all of your cash in one hand, in one place. Because like, if it gets stolen, then you're fucked, right? And so what I do is like, okay, well, I have my luggage, and in my luggage, I would have like a pair of pants or something, and there's some money there. And then I have some other money in the wallet, and then my wife has some money in the purse. And so like, if something gets stolen, then it's not that bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not going to ruin our vacation. And the same thing we do with the ID and all the papers. Like, once we get to the hotel, we leave them in the room. And also, once you get to the hotel, you also leave most of the cash there. So, like, when I went to London, I think I had 400 pounds. And I had, like, every day I'm going out and I'm only taking with me 100 pounds, right? So, like, the rest is at the hotel. I'm going out, I'm having 100 pounds. That's how much I'm spending that day. And if I was getting robbed or someone mugged me, I would only lose that amount of cash. Just like New York. Yeah. Basically describing Mexico. Dude, I'm describing Eastern Europe. It's like how I behaved back home when the land was dangerous and mystical. And this is how I would behave everywhere. Meanwhile, you look at Hassan Piker, who was being scammed in Mexico, and he didn't know why. He was thinking he's getting scammed because he's brown. And I'm like, no one thinks you're brown, Hassan. I know you really want to. I know if Hassan was to find the lamp and summon the genie, his wish was like, please, genie, make me a minority. I look too white. I need to be a minority because it goes with the vibe of the channel of what I'm making. But no, the problem is that he looked like a gringo. He looked too American. He had an expensive shirt. He had an expensive watch. He was well groomed. Probably smelled of aftershave. And any person in Mexico would be like, okay, shut the fuck up, Happiness. He is not fucking brown. If you put him in a police assembly line, everyone will say he's a Caucasian. Right? If Hassan Piker steals a bottle of rum from a liquor store, be like, we got a Caucasian that's male, you know, like that's pretty much what the cops are going to go. Yeah, no one is 23 and meing him, you know, no one is putting him to spit in the fucking... No, like you eyeball him, he is white. He is so fucking white that, what's the name of that, Jared Holt? Jared Holt would fucking do activism on behalf of Hassan. There is no way you can convince me that Hassan Piker would be confused by anyone from Mexico and think, oh yeah, well this is a Turk. No fucking way that they eyeball him as like he's a Caucasian, probably from Texas, fucking rich, wealthy American. SRC Maker, do you keep the money in the hotel room safe or you'll hide it in various places in the room? Okay, if I go to a hotel and it's a respectable establishment, I put it in the fucking safe. I am not that paranoid that the money would actually be stolen from the hotel. Like if it's the type of hotel where I have to worry about hiding the money, then in that situation, yeah, okay, I wouldn't go there. This is why I usually go to like 3-star hotels, at least. It's like, if it's a vacation, you should have enough money to save. Here's how I do it. If I want to go on a vacation in November, I start saving money from April. And then I choose a hotel that's at least 3 stars for the exact reason why you mentioned. It's like, I don't want any bed bugs, I don't want any pests, and I don't want to worry about like having to hide the money somewhere in the room because I'm afraid that the cleaning lady would know. A bit of off topic. Gargura's biggest hater announced last week that she is leaving the internet to look for a husband. I fucking saw that. I did see that. Brittany Venti. How the fuck does she not have... See, this is something that I don't get. This is fucking something that I don't get with these ladies. Brittany. See, this is what I failed to understand. Every single woman that I talk to that's an e-girl who has more than 50,000 subscribers either has a boyfriend or is married. Like, in front of the cameras, they don't talk about it. They try to pretend that they're single, whatever. But, like, behind the cameras, every single... Like, dude... If the woman is gorgeous and she has the confidence to put herself out there and she has a beautiful voice and shit, why would you assume she's single? Like, let's be real, you know, even the girls that look like a 7, they always have a boyfriend. And so, like, to me, I don't understand, why would Brittany Venti not already have someone? And maybe her standards are extraordinarily high. I don't fucking know. But I don't believe her bullshit. I don't believe, oh, I'm logging off the internet to look for... No, I don't believe you. I don't believe it. I think she already has a boyfriend. Like, there's no fucking way. Darkside Phil has a girlfriend. And I think, like, he had a wife. Boogie has a girlfriend and a wife. Or had a wife. Whatever. Like, you're telling me that Brittany Venti was single? Fuck off. I don't believe it. Venti is hot or is a Nadia level of ugly depending on the angle. I mean, well, how old is she? You know, like, let's be honest. Like, Caucasian women, they have, like, a very short time window. I think, like, 18 to 25, right? I gotta say 18 because, like, that's the American number. That's what the Californians go by. In my country, the legality is 16, but apparently I understand Sam Hyde. Sam Hyde is grilled right now on social media because he made a message to Elon Musk and Elon Musk subscribed to him. And allegedly he had a 16-year-old girlfriend, and that's pedophilia. I didn't know that. I think, like, my dad met my mom when my mom was 16. So, oof. Different times though. Different times. But do I have to confront my dad? I think my dad was like, hold on. Yeah, I think he was 20 and my mom was 16 or 17. Oof. They got married though. I don't know if that makes it okay. Rating Terror V. She was dating Think Before You Sleep and broke up with him. Also, he allegedly never slept with her throughout that time. I mean, I believe that. That's possible. I'm just saying what's on Twitter, right? Like Sam Hyde is accused of having a girlfriend who was 16 back in the day. And people are pointing out, well, it was legal in that place. And they're calling him a pedo. And I'm like, wow. All right, well, I guess I'll have to block him then. Guess I'll have to block this guy. I never listened to Sam Hyde. The only time I listened to Sam Hyde was when he did the Elon Musk video and when he challenged Hassan Piker. But other than that, I generally don't know his content. I don't know who the man is. But I was told that I need to dislike him. And it's like, okay, I do. I'll block him. Such weird internet drama I was not even aware of. Dude, it's trending on Twitter right now. Like right this moment. I'm looking on Twitter and I'm seeing it trending. And it's like, okay. That's messed up. Who the fuck is Zendaya? Never heard of Zendaya. Zendaya is plain, not ugly. I thought it's like Zenadia from Overwatch, but apparently it's actually a person. I see. Well, the interesting thing with Sam Hyde is like the Elon Musk speech was on point, right? So like a lot of liberals hate him. Like that's how the internet works. The more you stay on the internet, the more likely it is that you're going to say something controversial. You're going to have like the call out. That's what I call it. The call out. Right, so I'm calling you out because like 5 years ago you did such and such. And then they show you like a 10 seconds clip or they show you like a screenshot and you're getting called out. The call out. And people have the call out. Like usually the things are in the public domain. Like people are aware of what the guy did and they're holding it on to it. And then when the guy does something that upsets people, such as making a well-articulated point to Elon Musk, calling Elon Musk out, well, you're going to have the fanboys being like, okay, I think it's time now. I'm going to call you out. I'm calling you out. Look what you did. Back in the day, you went to a state where the age of consent was 16 and you dated that girl. You're a pedophile. I'm calling you out. Called out. And then you got to go with the call out. Right? Because like if you don't go with the call out, then it means you're condoning, and so you gotta block him. It's how the internet works. It's the modern culture, right? It's like calling you out. Like during COVID, they called out who was it? Joe Rogan. Right? Joe Rogan said the N-word. Like, Joe, we're calling you out. Look, you're a racist. We're calling you out. You get called out. And then people are like, I don't care. Ah, so you're a racist too. Nah. By the way, I don't know the actual controversy. Like I just saw the headline. I just saw the title. So like maybe Sam actually did something awful. I don't know. But from the title, he's getting called out. Yeah, 16 is legal in my country. That's another thing. And so I guess I guess America dominates over everything else. This is actually like one of the things that what was it? Andrew Tate used as an excuse. Like Andrew Tate showed a strawberry emoji to the daughter of a politician, and people were like horrified. It's like, why is he showing the strawberry emoji to this girl? And the answer was because it's legal in Romania. And here's the thing, right? Like, yes, it kind of is. But socially speaking, her father, who is well connected, may start throwing some shit down your way. So don't do it. But he did it. and then he had consequences. I'm tired of the political drama before the new administration even takes office. I don't watch Tim and Quartering anymore because of that. Oh, we got a raid. Hold on. Who's raiding me? Amesang. I see her on Twitter. And thank you for joining. We were talking about Sam Hyde. Apparently he's in a controversy. People are calling him out for having dated in the past a girl that was 16 in a state where the age of consent was also 16. And he's getting called out and called a pedo for doing so. And so I guess I'll have to block him. Like, I don't want those types of people in my feed. Still, even if I block him, I think I will see him on cable news, right? Like, every single time there's a shooting or they call the terrorist, it's Sam Hyde. Like, every single fucking time. So my block button may not be as efficient. Raid V, and I don't even know the server. Well, welcome to the show, Quippers United. Right. What else is new? By the way, did you know that Elon Musk probably has an Indian that uses his account? Like, I am at this point. You know what? Fuck it. I'm 100% sure. Like, if I was a betting man, if I was a person that's like asked, hey V, bet everything you have on black. Like, what is black? Black is that Elon Musk. He's got an intern. He's got someone else writing on his Twitter. And why would I think so? Well, let's look at the fact, right? Like, there's someone that talks against the H-1B visas. And Elon Musk takes it very personal. He uses weird insults. I think, like, I'm going to fuck you in your face or something like that. Just, like, really weird. They didn't sound very Englishy. But he takes it very, very personal. Then he starts ranting about how he got into the United States with an H-1B visa. And I'm like, hold on a little bit. Like, Elon Musk is in the U.S. for a while. Did they even have H-1B visas back then? But look at this, right? Like, this is the one before the Groiper Purge, the ethnical cleansing on Twitter. Look at how he's talking, right? Like, that is a lie. Do you make this lie? Do you make... Now, look, English is my second language, but, like, even I would not use this graph. Do you make this lie? Where did you find this lie? Liar. And so I firmly believe... And by the way, like, it's not even out of the ordinary. Like, a lot of influential people have someone else using their account. And if you're looking at Elon Musk, like, all he was tweeting is, like, showing some right-wing news and then tweeting a bullseye emoji or showing something controversial and going, wow. Like, I personally think that being the richest man in the world, he doesn't really have time to be terminally online. Like, Twitter is just one of his many businesses. Probably not even the most profitable one. And so, you know, for us that live online the most, like, for us, Elon Musk is someone very influential and omnipresent in our day-to-day lives. But for the rest of the world, like, he's probably more interested in SpaceX, Tesla, you know, that type of shit. Like, for him, Twitter is probably not the main focus of activities. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if he chose an intern who then spurred out over the whole H-1B visa thing. I don't think, like, Elon Musk is against it. I mean, he probably wants cheap labor, right? I have no doubt that he's a globalist. I mean, for me, it's not breaking news that technocrats are globalists. However, I do think that the way he addressed it and then did a 180 a couple of days later, I think that's a PR disaster. Like, if Elon Musk himself had the account, he would have probably tweeted something like, Yeah, I understand the issue that you guys are having, but like we're going to focus on illegal immigration first. We're going to discuss the H-1Bs and the legal migration later. Blah blah blah. And that if he's framing it like that, there would have been absolutely no controversy. Yeah, businessman wants more cheap later. 19 states in the U.S. The age of consent is 16. 5 states is 17, and the rest is 18. Okay. Yeah, no, like, I just want to say, to me as a Romanian, if I hear that Sam Hyde was, doing something that's not even illegal in the place that he is doing, I'm incredibly bewildered. I disavow and I will block. Sir, do you make this lie? Also me. Along with the entire Middle East, would you like the entire population of India to get imported to Romania with Dev? I'll just take the population of India, thank you very much, but I don't want Dev. American businesses need to be competitive, so wages need to be suppressed. Fully legit reasoning. Like, I mean, look, I already explained this. Like, if you're a business person, right, and you're creating a multinational corporation, like, you're going to be loyal to that corporation. You're not going to be loyal to any country. But, like, here's the thing that I don't get. This is like the people that are the woke right, as Lindsay calls them, right? When I was a kid, they would be called the alternative right. But like the people that use identity politics, right? Like the ones that aren't, that, like they find the Republicans not being extremist enough. Let's put it like this, right? I don't understand what their goal is in all of this. Like there were people that attacked Elon Musk for the conversation was like Elon Musk was talking to them about something else, and this guy comes in. It's like, oh, is it true that you abused your child and that's why they transitioned? You know, like something like bringing their kid into the conversation. And my point is like, good God, I'm so fucking glad I don't do agitation and propaganda in the United States, because if I had those perks, like, no, nothing would work. Like, if I get leftists, holy shit, like with leftists, I can subvert almost any institution. Like with leftists, you get gays for Palestine, you get like, let's stay home, stay safe to keep grandma endure to war, and then they go to war, and it's like, oh, now we protest for BLM, but keep the businesses closed. Like with leftists, you can do any type of any type of activity, any type of propaganda. But my fucking God, with the right, they don't understand the concept of goals. They don't understand what the vision is. They don't understand what a goal is. Like, here's the thing, right? Let's take Elon Musk. He unbanned your fucking friends, right? Like, that's the thing he did. He unbanned your friends. Like, Jack Dorsey banned your friends. Zuckerberg banned your friends. YouTube banned your friends. Everything bans your friends. Elon Musk unbanned your friends. Now, your job is to show that he's a hypocrite. Why? What do you gain? Like, he has no legal obligation to keep you unbanned. If he bans you, nothing changes. Instead of like using the platform to promote anything else, it's like, okay, on his platform, you can't talk about the Jews and you can't talk about the H-1B visas. But you can, however, talk about illegal migration. You can, however, talk about environmentalism. You can, however, talk about the crime rates. You can, however, talk about any other shit. And so, like, why not take advantage in order to talk about all the other shit, and maybe 4 years down the line, some other platform pops up or something else happens, and then you can talk about it there. Like, if you want to shit talk Elon Musk, shit talk him on YouTube, not on his platform. And then you get to maintain your account on his platform where you can talk about other stuff, and you can channel your audience onto other platforms where you can talk about the H-1B visas. Like, why is that so fucking complicated? It's like they get the smug satisfaction to have been right. You know, I actually talked about this when I was at the university. And I had this conversation both at med school and at law school. And I was talking with some colleagues of mine. And I explained to them, look, when you're at the exam, right? Like when you're with the university professor and you're giving your exam, never contradict the professor, even if, because sometimes it happens. Like to me, sometimes I knew for sure that the professor is full of shit and he is wrong and I'm right. But you know what you do? You shut the fuck up. Because if you contradict him, you're not going to pass the exam. They're petty. Like, university professors are fucking petty. And if you contradict them and you humiliate them, especially in front of their staff, then they're going to show that you don't actually know the subject matter. They're going to keep asking you questions. They're going to ask you, like, tell me about this, and you tell them, but what about this, and you tell them that, but what about this, and you tell them that. And what do you think of this, and you don't know that. Oh, you don't know this? Oh, well, this was very important, and you don't know it. F. Right? And at the end of the day, you get to feel good that you own the professor. You put him in his place. You embarrassed him in front of his staff. The professor goes home, forgets about you the next day, and you failed an exam. And now you have to give the exam back. So now you're wasting your entire summer. You're studying again. Who exactly is the winner here? What have you accomplished? You think you're the only one that put the professor in his place? No, you're not. Do you think, like, while the professor goes out vacationing and fucks bitches on the seaside, that you're studying at home, hating every minute of it? Is that the smug satisfaction, huh? You can win against the professor by going over their head. Oh yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, you can have a commission, but you still have to take the exam again. You still have to take the exam again, and then you have a commission, and you have to hope that in the commission, none of the other professors are friends with the professor you pissed off. You are talking about people who can't do an internet search. Yes, Luxian, I just don't know. It's like, in life, you gotta wonder, like, what your goals are. If you can't obtain anything, then maybe the battle is not worth it. Maybe you can, like, you should pick your battles. Like, do stuff that you can actually obtain, stuff that can actually be changed. Don't just pick fights with anyone for the sake of picking a fight. Was Elon's account calling people Ben Cod and Mother Cod 2 not sounding very South African? I don't know what Mother Cod and Ben Cod is. I don't know that controversy. Sam Hyde did to Matt and Even, Bill Clinton kid from Game Awards, what Elon wants to do to America. Brought like 20 Indians with him to take off. Jesus, nightmare. By that measure, I am shocked that I have a driver license and a passport. I've seen video of progressives in New York saying this nonsense and people in Harlem saying what the fuck. Yeah, like, usually don't piss off people that have power over you. It's not that fucking difficult. Now, you can actually, if you know you can win, right? But, like, if you just want to piss off your boss, then you expect to get fired. And it's like, oh, but the boss is a hypocrite. Okay, and? How do the girls do not study enough to pass exams? I see what you did there. Professors don't fuck bitches. They don't make that much. Are you crazy? University professors? Oh. They don't have to make money. There was the anatomy professor. He actually got arrested for soliciting students. Like, do you want to be on your 4s or do you want me to give you a 4? 4 is a failing grade. Like, the grade were 1 to 10. Yeah. I actually had an interview on the press. Like, the Romanian news came up. Like, I was giving another exam to biology, and they stuffed the microphone in my face. And it's like, what do you think about the anatomy professor that was caught? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, he never asked me. Like, he never called me in his office. Never proposed for me to get on my 4s. I studied for the exam, and it was actually kind of funny, though, because after they caught him, after they arrested him, a lot of ladies were upset because they actually liked the deal. Like, this baffled my brain, you know? Like, everything that feminism taught me was proven to be crumbling in front of my very eyes. There were women at med school that would have rather just had sex with him than study. Because, like, studying anatomy was very difficult. It was, like, 2 major textbooks. The subject matter was horrible, but it's essential to know as a doctor. So it was, like, one of the most important subjects in the first year. And also the most important subject in the second year. And so some women, rather than like we're talking about, not like, anatomy was one of the most difficult subjects in the entire University of Medicine. Like, if you know anatomy, you can say, okay, like, from now on, the hard mode is behind me. Like, you gotta learn in anatomy every single bone, every single nerve, every single vein, every single artery, and then you have to describe. It's like the clavicula, what muscles are inserted and where, what you have on the inferior part of it, like where the nerves go through, and you have to show it on the cadaver. You have to describe, and you have, like, the professor coming in with the needle, and it's like, okay, if I push this on the patient's leg, describe to me all the muscles that the needle goes through right now, like all of that, right? And it's so much to study, so fucking much. Like, when I went to med school the first year, I was going to university and coming home at around 1 p.m. And then I was studying all the time until 7 p.m. Just, like, non-stop studying, just constantly with the atlas. Yeah, every single day, everything. Just like, constantly studying with the atlas open and having, like, the skeleton bones and shit, because we studied on actual human skeletons. And so once that was over, like, once I finished that exam, I actually felt, it's like, okay, now I can be a human being again. Now I can actually live. And then I found out that some of my female colleagues were fucking the professor. And the professor went to jail over it. And some ladies were very upset, because it's like, well, now this opportunity is closed. Now I need to study. And I was like, oh my god, life is so fucking unfair, isn't it? Gotta study. Holy shit. To be fair, I don't know the English definitions of them. Right? So, in Romania it's triceptor, but, like, calf, I don't fucking know what the Romanian translation is. The thing is, like, most of the Romanian school is based on Latin and French, while the Anglo-Spheric school is based on retardedness. And so you guys didn't use the proper denominations, and, like, I can speak Romanian medicine, but, like, if you're asking me to translate into English, it's very difficult. Maybe they just did some after-school studying, yeah. Dude, like, there was this woman, holy shit. Like, I remember, during one of our classes, he had a couple of students that still didn't pass anatomy from the first year. So, like, they were now in the 6th year of medicine, and they still didn't pass anatomy. Like, to me, this was baffling. Like, how the fuck did you... So, like, you have the opportunity, okay, you failed it once, but then you can take it again, and then you have, like, 5 more years. That's, like, 2 semesters per year. So, like, you can take that exam 11 times. Like, even if you just study superficially, you should still manage to pass it after 11 fucking times. But, like, they didn't, right? So now they were about to graduate, but, like, they couldn't graduate unless they passed anatomy. So they came during one of our classes in order to take the exam. And, like, it was kind of funny because, like, the women that were dressed in a lab coat and they were presentable, like, professional, they actually knew the subject matter. But the women that were dressed like they were going clubbing, and at the time I didn't know why, but now I do, the teacher asked them to show, it's like, where do you take a pulse from a patient? And they had, like, you know, the carotid, the radial artery, like, there's, like, the at the foot. There's, like, 3 ways you can take the pulse to see if a patient is still alive. They didn't know how to fucking answer. I said, what the fuck, you're in 6th year of medicine. Like you're in 6th year of med school and you don't fucking know where to take a pulse? Holy fucking shit. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, the thing is, like, there's no fucking way. Like, even if you don't study this, even if you don't watch any movies or anything, you go to semiology, you know about it. You go to cardiology, they fucking tell you. You go to nephrology, they show you. Like, even if you just go to university and you're daydreaming, this is being told so many times and so often. It's almost like every single thing that you do at medicine, like at some point you end up with the conversation. It's like, where do you take the pulse? And they still don't fucking know. Yeah, the throbbing pulse is whatever you call it in English. Again, like the English medical language is something that I didn't master. In Romania is like de la radială, de la pedioasă, and then you have de la carotidă, right? Like, I know it in Romanian, but in English, fuck me, I don't know. And I can show it, like... But anyway, at the hand, it's like Tabacheria Anatomicus, one of the names. But still, like, they had no clue. And I was like, how the fuck can you not know? Oh yeah, you can actually take it from the rectum, I think. Like, if you put a finger up his ass. But I don't think, like, that's recommended. Oh, it's the same in English? Alright. Well, I don't, like, if I don't know if it's the same. I don't want to say a gaff. No, but yeah, like, you can take the pulse from the arm. Like, usually that's the first place you want to go, right? Like, if you want to measure a patient's hypertension, like, you take it from the arm. But what if the patient has necrosis, right? What if he doesn't have an arm? What if he's got a certain medical condition? Well, then you can take it from the foot. Like, that's also a possibility. What if he doesn't have an arm or a foot? Well, then you take it from the neck. Like, you need to know these things. They can happen. Like, there are patients that, well, they're in a wheelchair. They have no feet. And maybe they got in a car crash and they have no arms either. And you need to take the pulse. Well, that's where you take it from. V, with your squeaky voice, you didn't pork the teacher. I did not, unfortunately. No. The reason you don't want to take it always from the carotid is that you want to compare it with the arms, right? Like, you want to compare the pulse on the left arm, and then you want to compare the pulse on the right arm to see if the patient has any blockages. Because there are medical conditions that are pathological when, like, let's say you try to take the pulse from the left arm and you feel it very weak, and then when you take it from the right arm, it's very strong. And it's also a little bit uncomfortable for the patient to always, reach to his throat and start shoving your fingers in there in order to measure his pulse. It's a lot easier to just use his arm. But again, you know these things, like not knowing, like she couldn't name a single place, and I was like, what the fuck? Anyway. If the neck is not available, then the patient is dead. It's true. Unless it has like a very weak pulse and you don't feel it. But then it's about to die, so. Anyway, right. Thank you guys for the super chats. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow.